everybody. Welcome back to the Blitz City Podcast for another episode of FBS Fridays. Y'all know what it is. This is episode 4, I believe. All right, usually we with the panel, like Blue, Jason, Kelly, but those guys can't make it tonight. But, of course, I'm here, and my co-host is here, and we going to hold it down. Clay McCarter, y'all know we do this. We've been doing this for a year now. We're on the second season. Clay, what's good?
Nothing, man. We'll have a short show tonight, talk about some football, and see what we got going on. But you got to spend the weekend in Chicago, yearly Chicago trip. Big Cubs fan, just in case we got some baseball fans in the chat.
I see.
Yeah, man, it was cool, man. Yeah, Chicago's a cool city, man. It's not like I feel like Chicago gets like overlooked on like one of like the nicest cities in America in terms of like when you're downtown, like the river walk and like seeing like how beautiful the river is and everything, and like the historic side of it. It's amazing. I definitely recommend if you get a chance to go to Chicago, go visit downtown Chicago, go see Wrigleyville, Forsyth Park, Lincoln Park, the whole 9 yards. Go do your history run and all that stuff. But let's get after some football.
Right now.
Technical difficulties, but it's all good. We're still live.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened just now.
We back. It's all good, baby.
It's good. All right, yeah. What was you saying?
I was touching on Chicago, man. Saying everybody should go and get a chance to go take a visit at it. Beautiful city, downtown's gorgeous. So much to do. Food's outstanding. Going out at night if you're into that kind of thing is a fun time. A lot of rooftop bars, a lot of action going on. Very active city.
Love it. And we gotta do something one time, bro. Like when you we gotta go.
Oh yeah, we're going. We're going. We gotta get up. It's gonna be more than likely. I'm gonna try to see what I can do, but we might try to see if we can pull the Florida Georgia game in Jacksonville, largest outdoor cocktail party. That's a fun time. Ooh. That's a fun time. I tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
A fun time. I don't care if Florida gets kicked in by 50. The vibes are immaculate. The vibes are immaculate.
Hey, I'm ready. Let's do it. Whatever you want to, let's do it.
Let's get it.
All right, now, first topic that we got to start off. One that's been blowing up. All right, UNLV starting quarterback. This is a 3-0 team, mind you. Their starting quarterback was promised, what was it, something egregious like $100K in NIL money, and he didn't receive it. So therefore, he is opted out the rest of this season. He says, "I'm good after this season's over. I'm hopping in the portal because I did not receive the NIL that was promised to me." Seeing this, I thought a couple things. Number one, we have to stop putting this narrative on athletes when they don't get what was promised to them. Like like the Barstool pages for these schools. The UNLV Barstool page was like, "Oh, he chose money over football." That's not true. You promised that man something, and you didn't deliver. Don't make him out to be the villain at this point. You're UNLV. You're not Oregon. You're not Alabama. You're not Florida. Nobody's coming there based off of tradition. Nobody's coming there for uniforms. Nobody's coming there for your championship history. You need an incentive to get them there. So don't act like it's a problem when he leaves because you don't give it to him. You knew what he was here for. So don't make that kid out to be the villain. 2, who exactly was the guy who offered that kid $100,000? Because I mean, if you don't have it, you don't have it. But like, who threw that number out there, knowing that he was gonna bite? All right, because it's 100K. You're a college athlete. But who threw that number out there, knowing that you're gonna have to come up with that money at some point? You know what I'm saying? Like, guys will leave you on NCAA if you don't keep those promises in dynasty mode. I don't know what made you think they wouldn't
Yeah.
leave real life if you don't give me $100,000 and I'm at UNLV out of all places, helping you be undefeated right now. So many things went through my head with this whole situation. This is messy, and he's not the only player who's leaving UNLV now. A couple of guys will come out after him, so it's not really looking good. But this sort of thing needs to be addressed, because if we can hold players accountable for things, we need to really sit back and look at coaches too in these programs, because like these adults, they love to say, well, when you give your commitment to something, you keep it, right? If you make a promise to something, you follow through on that promise. But then you look at the kid, you don't follow through on your promise for him, and then he leaves and nobody says anything to the coach. It's always the player's fault. So I mean, that's just my take on it. I don't like it. And I kind of hope this thing gets fixed, because this is a problem that's been happening for a little while now that nobody really wants to talk about. But don't promise these kids things that you know you can't give them. But what did you think when you saw this?
So when I saw it, I remember I immediately screenshotted it and sent it to you of seeing his parents hired an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Saw like he was playing well. Obviously, they started the season off really great, undefeated. He's playing really good. I think there's two sides of the story. I remember I sent you that graphic too from Coach Reed that was saying the other side of the narrative. So the narrative is that he was promised something, it wasn't followed through, broken promises, money, funds not delivered, whatever it was, expectations were not met, right? The flip side of it is what we saw from Coach Reed was saying that he saw, he's out there. Coach Reed's out there. You know that. You introduced me to him through the podcast. He's out there. So he says that there are sources that have said that his parents are instructing him to redshirt and explore other ways to go and make more money, and that there was no broken promises. It was not quote unquote greed. It was more of a, I see what my brand is, I want to go explore my different evaluation kind of thing. So if it's that, then I mean, we're going to see more and more of that happen. If players go into a school, they're promised X amount of dollars in NIL, they go there, they exceed expectations, they start balling out and realizing this is what I'm doing at this school. They're paying this amount of money over here, and if I'm getting the interest, I'm going to go get this bag over here. I'm going to go sign that check over there. So, I mean, that could be an option of what's happening. Now, I do also realize you don't just go to UNLV for traditions and uniforms and anything like you said. You can only spend so much time on the strip and think that, like, everything's sweet. Like, right. People don't want to live there full time. Mm-hmm. You don't even want to go there for more than 4 days. After that, it gets played out. No one goes to sleep. So it's like, I think that it's two sides of the story. I think it's maybe there was broken promises, or it's his parents are saying, hey, man, you're balling out right now. You're worth more than $100K NIL deal. You can go get some more money somewhere else. So let's redshirt because we're before the threshold, and let's just go see what other things are out there. You can go transfer, and we're rocking and rolling. And you can go make more money. That could be the case.
If that is the case, that is scary to me. Because it's only been 3 games.
But that's going to happen more and more. You're going to have those freshman phenoms that are going to go to these schools and only get paid X amount of dollars, and then if they ball out, and then another team's going to be like, yo, hold on. You producing like that, and we need to fill that hole for your position? Come on. Don't be worried about 100 G's, bro. We're going to float you a couple hundred G's, and we're going to call it a day.
That is a very risky game that he's playing if he's doing that. Because, like, if you're going to ball out, if you're balling out, do it for the rest of the season. Enter the portal afterwards.
Oh, yeah, because you built all the value. He's a risk right now.
Oh, my God.
I think it's too early. My opinion is, if you're balling, keep balling, bro.
Keep balling.
An injury could happen, or somebody could start figuring you out, and now they shut down half of your game. Now you're not running the same things that the explosive plays that aren't getting caught up from people watching film and everything. I mean, he's only a freshman, so it's like either he keeps balling and his value at the end in the transfer portal is immaculate because he's guaranteed that over a full season, or, bro, you can also get hurt. So it's like, are you going to leave a $100K NIL deal to go get say it's $250,000 NIL deal, but you're still going to sit the whole season? Yeah, you're getting the money for the year, even though you're not playing, but, like, what happens if you just keep playing? You're undefeated.
I just hope. I really hope that it isn't that it isn't what you said, because that's a bad look. That's a bad look. Especially if you want to use that excuse that I wasn't given what I was promised, because there are kids who are actually going through this and having this problem, and you would kind of set them back a little bit if you use that as an excuse, knowing I just got offered something better somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, Established 1993 says Miami's getting upset. Like right now, I know they're playing now. Please tell us what the score of that Miami game is for y'all watching.
Somebody in the comments, please.
Now let's go to Travis Hunter. All right, I'm surprised this wasn't even bigger news, really, because it's Travis Hunter. But Richard Sherman, he was on a podcast, I believe he was on somebody's platform, and he basically said that Travis Hunter is, to him, bland as a wide receiver. He didn't say he was trash, he didn't say he was sorry, but he did say Travis Hunter is bland to him as a receiver. Now when I heard that, and then of course it's important to mention that Travis Hunter responded back saying, "Stop talking on me, just let me play my game." And Dion set up something where they both could have a conversation, and they did, and they hashed things out. But I do want to challenge something. Richard Sherman did say, like, that's really not how I meant it, right? Like don't take it that way. How do you take that a nice way?
I mean,
how can somebody misconstrue being called bland, especially a guy like Travis Hunter? Now, I feel like you could have worded that better, because number one, you work in media. You know what this would have done. You know using this man's name is going to draw buzz. He gets a lot of eyes on him. He plays for Dion. He is a top 5 projected pick in next year's draft. You know what's going to come with these type of comments. So the fact that he used those choice words tells me we're not taking it out of context. You just don't want to own up to what you did. Like, don't do that. If you don't think as much as a receiver, fine, cool. You are entitled to.
Yeah.
But I don't see what exactly is bland about him at wide receiver. Like, if you want to say he's not a flashy route runner, okay, cool. But what you can't deny is that the ball skills are probably the best in the nation out of anybody in college football. I mean, his athleticism is second to none. The way he can contort his body to make catches, it's been happening since week 1 versus North Dakota State in that game-winning touchdown that he had. You can go all the way back to Jackson State in his freshman year in the HBCU National Championship game, where he caught the pass to send the game into overtime. It was damn near a Hail Mary. And he caught the pass to send it into overtime. He's been doing things like this. So I don't know what exactly you see in him at wide receiver that makes you think he's bland, because a lot of other people would actually say he's a better wide receiver than he is DB. So I don't know what it is that's bland, but he's said his opinion. I just think that we didn't take what he said out of context. I think he just tried to read. I think he tried to like go back after saying what he said about Travis. What do you think?
I mean, I think that it definitely could have been worded differently. I think he did kind of backpedal a little bit after it was delivered. But I mean, I also understand, maybe he was saying it from a heart of like, man, I want you to spend more time at DB because that's what you're better at, coming from Richard Sherman. Obviously, one of the greatest of, our generation, me and you growing up watching NFL side of it. But I mean, let it kind of just mull over, and it's going to be forgotten about. I don't think that there's no harm, no foul between the two of them. I bet you they probably had a private conversation. Probably said, man, I could have worded that better. I'm a big fan of your game, obviously. There's nobody that can sit here and honestly sit and try to pick apart Travis Hunter's game. You can sit there and say, even if you were to say the word, oh, he's not a flashy receiver, bro, he doesn't get off the field from the time the clock starts until it ends. So do you expect the guy to be like, what more do you want from him at that point? Like, the guy is elite level ball skills on both sides of the ball. Hands are stupid. Athleticism, stupid.
Crazy.
Fast, jumps out the gym. For his size and weight, he's extremely underrated on the strength side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, okay, so
he's gotten bigger. He's actually gotten bigger.
Yeah, definitely. But imagine if he were to say, all right, you know what, I'm not going to be two-way anymore, and he goes into one. If he goes into one, then maybe he becomes even better than what we're seeing, which is really scary because he's elite level on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think he's elite level. Imagine if he was not having to worry about running offense, and imagine if he didn't have all that energy that's bursted throughout the entire game of having to play on offense, and he could just zone in on defense. Imagine, like, what would that actually look like? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, he's already Clamp City.
And you know what? Even though he had a couple misfires last game, yeah, he's still Clamp. I've never not been a fan of him at corner.
Bro, he is a blanket on the defensive side of the ball.
He's a
blanket. If you go in there with a wide receiver 1 and Travis Hunter's carrying him all game, you better game plan for something else. He might get a catch because it's good route kind of thing, but you're not getting another one. You might get your little one catch for 15, 20 yards maybe because of no safety help or something, but you're not going to sit here and say that you're just going to route up Travis Hunter all night. Like, it's not happening. You're not going for more than 100. You're definitely not going for 100. That's for sure. That's not going to happen.
I will say this one last thing about Travis Hunter, as the conversation about him to the NFL still and how he's going to transition to that is still being talked about. Blue did make a good point. Like, let's say he's playing a team like Miami, and like you're starting off at receiver, but then you have to go right back at DB and cover Tyreek Hill after playing wide receiver all game and exerting so much energy. I understand that. So I do, but I still do want to see him try to play both sides of the ball. So to me, right, I would say create packages for him at wide receiver and let him play DB most of the time.
I agree with you 100%. I swear, I was just getting ready to say the same thing. He's elite level on that side of the ball. Let's have him do that. It's guaranteed. He's going to go into the league, depending on what team he's going to be at. He's going to be probably not out the gate CB1, depending on what teams he goes to. He's not starting over, a lot of elite level corners. But if you can mix him in there and say he's your man-to-man slot guy, cool. And then he can get in probably, 20, 30 reps on offense. I'm cool with that. But him having to sit there and go through 50-something snaps a game on the offensive side and play a whole game defense, bro, that's going to be a lot in the NFL. Them boys are bigger, faster, and stronger. So I don't know how it play out. At least save some of that energy, man, because the NFL is a much longer season, a lot more wear and tear in your body. I think we just as college football fans, I think every single person that genuinely likes college football just wants to see him prosper.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say about him? When it comes to him, I don't want to see him just like get like 1 or 2 plays in the game either. Like, I don't mean like packages like that. I mean like legit packages. Yeah. Make a situation to where he could really use his talents on offense. But I think put him at corner. And I feel like the discourse around what should he play anywhere should stop, because after the season, at his pro day, at the combine, he's gonna do both drills. This isn't going away. He's not gonna pick. They're not gonna force him to pick when the season's over. Scouts aren't gonna come to him and say, "Okay, you got to pick one." No, he's
based off of who has a hole. Whoever's top 5 pick. If you're top 5 picks, so top 5 picks based off of just right now, theoretically, top 5 picks. You're gonna have the Panthers, the Giants,
right? You might as well throw my Titans in there. We ain't looking too good.
Titans might be in there. Throw out whoever other 2 teams you want to throw out there. The Bengals keep playing the way that they are, they might be a top 5 pick, because the Bengals are not playing like the Bengals I know. That's for sure.
The Bengals don't know.
So if you're first one on the board, you're the Panthers. They are taking him at corner, off rip.
Right.
We can mix you in there and in packages. Cool. You get to another team that really needs a receiver. He's going as a receiver, and they're going to say, okay, hold on. We might mix you in there a little bit on defense, if up to you, but we want you listed as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it's going to play out for him. No one's going to go in there and say, all right, you're playing both sides of the ball the entire game, and we're going to see what happens. A GM that does that is dumb because you're going to waste the kid's career because he's going to get hurt.
I agree with you. Donnie, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you. Newest member of the channel, man. We really appreciate you. But no, I agree with what you're saying. I would love to see him on the Panthers too.
I'm going to a game.
I would go to a Carolina game.
He plays my Buccaneers. I'm there.
Let's keep that in the works. Definitely if he gets drafted to Carolina.
To Carolina. Put it in the works.
All right, now Texas. This is such a crazy thing with Texas because they are the only team who is doing everything right. Like they're winning. They look really good. We're talking about them being like title contenders and definite playoff contenders. And yet and still, this controversy with Arch Manning just will not go away. Even though it's not as big as it first was, but it won't go away because number one, Quinn can't stay healthy. That's the main thing. But because people just really like Arch and they really can't wait to see a Manning back in college football as a full-time starter. So of course, Quinn Ewers suffers an injury. They decide to take him out because they're playing a low-level G5 school. Like, take Quinn out. Let's get Arch in the game. He's more than capable of, guiding us to a smooth victory over, was it UL Monroe that they played? So, he played well. And threw for over 250, 2, 3, something like that. And now the question has come up because their first SEC game is next week tomorrow versus Arkansas. And they want to know who to start, right? Should you start Arch or should you bring Quinn back? And I understand why you would take time to think about this for the simple fact that this is an SEC game. These games count. These games really count right now. So even though I feel like Mississippi State, regardless of who you start, you'll win that game. But Mississippi State, it's the SEC. If you don't come out playing well, they can upset you too. So this is kind of an important decision. If it's me, I will, depending on where Quinn is at with his injury, I will put Quinn in. I would start Quinn, number one, because I really want to dead all of this talk. Like I don't need that distraction for Quinn, knowing that we have a great chance this year to do something great, to possibly win a natty and get there. I don't want this distraction on Quinn right now. I don't want this coming back again. So yes, if Quinn is ready, I'd start Quinn. But when you look at Arch, when you talk about quarterbacks, it's such a touchy-feely topic, right? Because when you got a guy as talented as Arch, he's going to be great, but you wonder where his readiness is. Because we've seen what he can do versus G5 competition, but what are you going to do when the lights are at its brightest and you have to win this game? You have to make this throw on third down versus much better competition in your conference. We haven't seen him versus that type of talent yet, so who knows what's going to happen with that. But I'll say that to say that I'm going to choose Arch. I mean, not Arch. I'm going to choose Quinn for more than one reason. I don't know exactly where Arch is, and I don't want to find out versus in SEC competition unless I have to. And Quinn, I don't want distractions for him. He's our guy. He's going to be that guy. And we have to win this game. Now, Sarkisian did say something very interesting. He said Quinn is going to have to prove that he's ready to go. So Arch starting tomorrow is not out of the realm of possibility. But what do you think about this? Who would you start tomorrow? Who should start tomorrow?
God's honest truth, if I was Sarkisian and I was sitting there and we're going through it, I would look at the situation like this. Where is Quinn at in his injury? Is he at 100%? I'm not talking about 95, 90%. Mm-hmm. Is he 100% back on track to where there's no excuse?
Right.
I'm going with Quinn. The reason being, I'm not going to let the injury take his position when he's already been playing so good. He is your guy, and Arch knows that he has been on the back burner. He's got to wait his time, and he's okay with that. He said the Manning family has made investment for him. He's going to play 4 to 5 years of college football, and that's how that's going to be. You got to go with Quinn because you can't destroy the confidence. Because what happens is if you go with Arch, you destroy Quinn's confidence, and then it comes into a situation where Arch, the pressure might be a little bit too much for Arch in a big-time game. I'm not saying that Mississippi State's a big-time game, but like you said, this is the SEC. There's very minimal amount of room for error here. So if you throw Arch in there, Arch gets in there, pressure's too much. You've had Quinn sideline, he's in his head because things like that happen. We're human beings. What if he can't dig you out of the hole coming out of the bench? Because it might be a little bit too big. I'm taking Quinn, knowing that I have a weapon that I can bring off of the bench in the event that something bad were to happen. Now, do I think anything bad could happen to Texas playing this game? Not really. More than likely, they could probably throw the third string in there and dive and dunk rookie offense and figure it out. But you got to go Quinn. Keep the confidence rolling with your upperclassmen. He's not going to be there much longer. Keep riding with that one, and then keep Arch happy, healthy on the bench. So when the time comes and he's needed, then you pull the wild card out because they don't have a lot of film on the kid. Stick with Quinn.
Right.
I think majority of people would agree with you too. Everyone saw him break a 60-something yard rushing touchdown. They're like, he should be the starter. He should be the starter. He's okay with waiting. He already said he is. Go with Quinn.
Let's relax on it. He does look good. His progression does look fine. But let's relax on calling him the starter right now.
Let the guy who's been putting up stats, let him keep doing his thing.
Now, let's get into this recap from last week. And I want to start with something that is absolutely insane. James Madison putting up 70 points, a basketball score on North Carolina. Now,
if you didn't know this was a college football podcast, you would see that score and be like, they suck at basketball that bad?
Like, seriously.
Like, what happened?
Bro, we have seen North Carolina get into these types of battles with G5 schools before, with App State. I think the last time they went to App State, and that was a wild game that they almost lost. But James Madison putting up 70 points.
They were good last year.
Even though they scored 50, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry. Like it makes your 50 look like 20. I see a 7-0 on the scoreboard. How do you do that? What was your reaction to this loss?
I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, damn, like, are you for real? Like really? Like, this is how you're going out right now? Like, but at the same time James Madison seems to be doing a little bit of something in athletics. Basketball and football, they seem to be kind of making a little bit of a name of themselves as of late. I'm not going to say that I hate seeing the loss, honestly, because, I mean, I don't really care. The whole UNC Duke thing, whatever, with tying back to basketball, I don't really care. But good for JMU, man. I got a guy I work with who's a JMU alumni, and he was like, man, I'm all for it. I love to see it. So I'll roll with it.
I love that for him. If I'm the AD, we gotta have some talks after a loss like that.
Oh, I mean, bro, you gotta send Mac to the retirement home and hey, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Time to get somebody young. Bro. Let's get some young spunk in there. Some graduate assistant or some OC somewhere that's just been waiting for that call. And let's Mac, thank you for everything you did for college football, bro. We appreciate it. You were a hell of a coach. My entire childhood growing up, I can't hate on Mac for nothing. But bro, it's time, my guy.
I'm literally starting his farewell tour after that game.
Yeah.
The rest of the season.
He knows it's over with. That's He's gonna watch. He'll retire after the season.
Yeah. All right. Michigan, USC. I thought USC would pull this out. I thought they would. You know what I'm saying? Even though we expect Michigan to be, no matter what changes have happened, we always expect Michigan to be good defensively. And they're still good defensively. I really thought USC was going to find a way to get this done, Lincoln Riley and those guys, but he didn't. He did not. What was your reaction?
You know, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people that has like a dog in the hunt or in the fight when it comes to like the Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State battles. I mean, really, I'm not a fan really of any of them. I like a lot of the tradition that goes on between a lot of them. So, I mean, between this game, I kind of was pulling for Michigan just because I kind of want to see them be able to rebound a little bit. I like watching the defense. The defense is talented still, no matter what. Their roster top to bottom has still got a lot of blue chip talent on it. They just got to get a little bit of stuff together, man. The transition year, we say this every single episode. We talk about Michigan. You lose that amount of starters. You know, you got a different coaching staff. Losing Harbaugh was a big deal to the program, obviously. But I think this kind of just shows a little bit more of the same conversation we also have. It's like Lincoln Riley is just – he can't seem to put it together, man. He can't really – I don't know what it is. Like, we talk about this last season a lot. We were like, man, we had a lot of high expectations for Lincoln Riley. They're paying him a lot of money, like a lot of money. I'm a big fan of Miller Moss, like watching his game, but at some point, man, you can't be hanging your hats all season on that LSU win and then just kind of drop out of the game. You know what I mean? You guys got to keep pushing down the road and finding ways to win games.
Excuse me, bro. My coworker said he was gonna try trolling me. Devon, if this is you, Devon, don't let me see you Monday, bro. If this is you playing, this better not be Devon, bro. All right, threw off my whole train of thought. Missouri and Vanderbilt. All right, Missouri. I'm losing faith on them. I really am. I'm losing faith on Missouri and Missouri because what was that? Right? Barely beating Vandy. I thought you guys were going to be better this year. Like, I thought, like y'all were primed to look. I'm thinking maybe even playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Luther Burden at the helm. I thought everything was going to run through him. He's still a great player. But it's just Vanderbilt. You barely escaped Vandy by 3. I get it. It's the SEC. But Vandy is as easy as they come when it comes to conference games like this. You have to find a way to pull that out. Vandy isn't good this year. I'm not as confident on them now after seeing this game. And yes, everybody has slip-ups at some point during the season. So everybody has an uncharacteristic game. Believe me, my Ducks have had 2 of them. All right? With Idaho and Boise. Everybody has uncharacteristic weeks. Maybe you could chalk this up to that. But, man, I just feel like at this point in the season, like the majority of your cylinders need to be firing.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know, man. I look at this and I
don't think that they're as good as everyone makes them out to be.
I don't like it.
I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah, I think we lost play. Y'all just gotta forgive us tonight. I don't know what's happening. You know, we still having complications after the storm, so y'all just gotta rock with us. Yeah, you good.
Okay, cool. I'm just trying to make sure because I started getting crackly on my side.
Oh no, I'm done now. You can go ahead.
In terms of Mizzou, man, honestly, I agree with you, bro. I don't think that they're as good as everyone's hyping them up to be. I think that they haven't really been truly tested. And if this is supposed to be a quote-unquote test, is Vandy going 30-27? I mean, bro, it's Vanderbilt. You're talking about a baseball school and a bunch of geniuses. Like, let's talk about teams in the SEC that they're going to lose to. And when I say that they're going to lose to, they will lose to. They're losing to Tennessee.
Right.
They're losing to Georgia.
Yeah.
They're losing to Alabama. They're losing to Texas. They're losing to Texas. I'm going to throw this in there just for Jason. They won't beat Oklahoma.
Right.
If the game's in Norman, they're not beating Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you catch Auburn on a good day at home. They might not be Auburn in Auburn. I just think, look, I respect a lot of the talent that's there. I respect Luther is a dog. I hope to God he comes to Tampa because I think we're going to lose either Mike Evans or Chris Godwin after the year. So I would love to have Luther over there. He's a dog. But this hype of Mizzou being this, like, over the top. Oh, I forgot another one. They would get absolutely boat raced by Ole Miss.
Oh my, yes, in Jackson
Boat race.
Dart.
I'm talking about Lane Kiffin would have a field day with them. Field day, just to prove a point. Fourth quarter up by 20 with 4 or 5 minutes left, and he's still throwing the ball. No doubt. I think that we'll touch base on this end of the season. We'll bring up the Mizzou topic. I'm going to go ahead and start with my rational thing. I'm guaranteeing 2 losses by the end of the season. At absolute minimum, probably 3. Regular season.
I can see it, honestly. Let's talk about Tennessee. And I know our guy Jason, he was really excited, man. He was really excited. You know, he showed us his picture. He was there. You know, this is Oklahoma's first game in the SEC. He was very excited. And they couldn't get it done. 25-19. It was a very close game, but Nico and the rest of those balls, man, they got it done. They're just really good offensively. I'm getting more and more on the Tennessee bandwagon when it comes to the SEC as the season goes along. I'm getting more and more on board with them. I like what I see with them. Like they just look like a well-coached, well-sounded offensively football team. And I'm not saying that when they come up against the likes of the bigger powerhouses in the conference like a Georgia or Alabama that they'll be fine, that they'll win, or even a Texas. But I like what I see from them right now, and I think they'll keep continuing to build momentum. Nico will continue to progress. They'll continue to look like a well-oiled machine offensively. And, you know, who knows? Maybe they do just come away with a really big win versus someone that they probably shouldn't.
I agree with you. I mean, honestly, I had some money on that game because I thought it was a little bit enticing. I was thinking that, you know, the first SEC game in Norman, I want to see what Nico does to get tested. Pass with flying colors. Game probably shouldn't have been as close. I think it could have definitely favored Oklahoma. It could have favored Tennessee probably a little bit more, but I think Oklahoma could have been a little bit closer. But I do want to say, even as a Florida fan, man, I'm starting to get on the hype of this Tennessee train. I think that Nico is a dog. I think, like you said, they're extremely well coached. Josh has got it going on. He's definitely building some big things there, man. He's recruiting pretty well. I think for this year in the cycle, he's already, you know, pretty much got some, I guess, key spots for them in trench game. Excited to see what he's going to do going in the future, man. He's probably going to end up getting poached from Tennessee, though. I think there's going to be a bigger name, you know, coaching job that becomes available that he's going to pounce on and kind of go from there. But as of right now, man, balls are balling right now.
Thanks. Okay. Louisville, Notre Dame. Let's talk next week.
Gotta go. Like I said, man, I gotta go Notre Dame. Hilton Head, Bluffton, gotta go Notre Dame. Got to. I have to. Bro, I got to. And number one, two, I would pick Louisville because one of my best friends is a Louisville fan. But at the same time, bro, I gotta go Notre Dame. I got to.
I don't know. Bro, Louisville looks really good. Louisville looks like potential ACC champs. Like right now, the way that they're going right now, they've only gotten better. I'm not saying they will. I don't think they will. I'm just saying they're looking good, bro.
So listen, I'm going with Notre Dame because, like I said, I got a shout out for Bluffton Hilton Head with Jalen Sneed from Hilton Head, right down the road, linebacker. I got to just out of the respect for the Low Country, but Louisville is kind of balling low key, so they definitely have a chance. Listen, they are balling. So I mean, it could go both ways. Listen, I'll sleep well at night regardless. I don't care about either one of those teams on a personal level aside from somebody being at the high school down the road going there and he's starter. So
I was, and plus Notre Dame just their last win. I forget who the opponent was against, but it was a G5 opponent, and it was 28-9. That's not a big enough margin for me. I don't know what's going on with Notre Dame offensively, but I'm not so.
But didn't they pop out? Didn't they pop out Purdue game with? Didn't they score 50?
You said the Purdue game?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the Purdue game. I don't know.
I want to say I thought the final score of the Purdue game. I think they popped out like 52 or 55 on the scoreboard, and then it was like a kind of like I know we just lost that really bad game, but let's kind of like show everybody that we can actually score points and play football. But I don't know. I think that if I had to guess, I'd say the spread's probably in Notre Dame. I bet the spread's probably 4.5, maybe 5.5, something like that. You're calling it probably between a field goal and a touchdown. Let's go Louisville with the upset.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm with it. I'm with that.
Let's go Louisville with the upset. I'm going Notre Dame. I want Notre Dame to win, obviously, because of like I was been mentioning. But let's go Louisville with the upset. Let's go with the L's.
All right. Now check this out. We told y'all tonight this is going to be a short show. We got 2 more games left, and we wrapping it up. Sometimes it's just faster when it's when it's 2 guys talking as opposed to 5 or 6. Because everybody got to get their takes in. But we got 2 ones left, and we're gonna wrap this up. Game of the week, though. UGA and Bama, the big one. This is like this is hard for me.
I thought about this in the same way that I was doing what you're doing with the head scratch and doing all that. I thought about it and I was like I started going down by position and knowing they obviously both have elite level trenches. That's not a problem. Secondary, they're both going to have good secondaries. Defenses is out of the question. You can scratch the list off there. When I look at offenses, where I start going, all right, Carson Beck's good, Milroe's good, Bernard and Kendrick Law, okay, and then Arian Smith, and okay. You start looking through everybody, and you're like, okay. And then you see it's at Bama, and you're like, that plays a part in it. But then you see it's at Bama, and they don't have the GOAT.
And that's what it was going to come down to.
That's where I made my decision right there. They don't have the GOAT no more. Kirby was 1-5 against Saban. He ain't coaching against Saban. I'm going with the Dogs.
I agree with you for that exact same reason. That's what it had to come down to. Yep. It had to come down to coaching because when you look at them talent-wise, you compare these rosters, it's almost identical, right? They're good. They're both fine. And what's his name? Dober from that's the coach's name from Washington. That's now coaching now. DeBoer, yeah. So he inherited a lot of Saban's talent too, as well as bringing in his own. But he hasn't been in a not much games like that. You played the big game versus Oregon, right? You played you coached the Natty, but this is different. This is a different type of game. And even though you'll be at home, I just want to know what you'll do in the situation. I really want to know because SEC country is different, man. Pac-12 was a little bit easier. You had us at home. You had Oregon at home. You know what I'm saying? The weather was in your favor as well. The conditions were great. But in the SEC,
yeah,
when these fans are a lot more passionate, what's gonna happen if?
Go ahead, finish.
Say.
No, finish.
I was just gonna say what's gonna happen. What?
I was about to chime in on the same thing that you were saying as you were going to keep going on. When you said Oregon, that's the Kirby coaching tree. Now you're going against the man himself.
Bro, you can inherit the talent, but what are you going to do when the game doesn't start off your way, right? And now fans are booing you, and you're hearing that. This is different. So just for that reason, give me Georgia. I think Kirby Kirby probably isn't even as nervous as he would be had the safety still been on that sideline. He's not taking it lightly by any means, but I don't think he's worried.
No, Kirby's gonna go into that game with a mentality of, look, I came from his coaching tree, so I got to give him the respect and the flowers. He could only beat him one. He was 1-5 against him. He could only beat him one time in 6 tries. So I think Kirby accepted that fate. He knew that. Man, that's you got to give the flowers to the GOAT, bro. And now he realizes, bro, who am I really in competition with? You think about that. Who is Kirby really in competition with now? The only person you really can say that has a proven track record behind him is Dabo.
Dabo is nowhere near
and that's it. So Kirby, and I hate to say this, I'm a Florida fan. They're a rival to me, so it's like, yeah, you don't want to see him be good, but I also have to appreciate and acknowledge football competently and say that yes, Kirby's top dog. Georgia's obviously a dynasty right now, and I think that he's gonna walk in there, and he's gonna have these boys on the pedal all night. And it could get ugly. It could get ugly.
It could. Really good. All right. Last one. Arkansas versus Texas A&M. Hear me out. I'm going Arkansas. I am going to go Arkansas. I like what I see. I'm not really wanting to buy into the RJ Young takes that he usually has because a lot of them is egregious. But he didn't make a lot of good points on Arkansas. I think they look really good right now. That quarterback that they have, I like that kid a lot. I think they are starting to find stride at the right time. Like, the same goes in football, man. You make your biggest adjustments between the first couple of weeks. So for me, them going into week 5 now, I think they'll be. I'm going to give it to them. I'm not really buying the Texas A&M hype right now. I think Texas A&M still has a lot of changes going on in between the shadows. I think they have so much things going on structurally in that program that still needs to be addressed because everything that they're trying to rebuild from what was done by Jimbo.
Short commercial break. Hope everybody's day's been going well. Everybody had a good work week. It's Friday. Getting ready to be the weekend. Yeah. So hope everybody had a big fat paycheck. If you get paid on Friday, some don't. So yeah. Hope everybody had a productive week with a positive weekend to look forward to. So we got that for us, and we're going to be returning back from our commercial break very shortly. So yeah. Oh, also for any of our local viewers, if you were impacted by the storm, hope everybody was well. Kind of sucked. And back from the commercial break.
Hey, if y'all can hear me, like I said, man, we've been dealing with a lot of issues regarding this internet ever since the storm came through earlier. So I really do appreciate y'all for being patient with that and just being here to, sticking through all of this stuff. But that was the last topic. I don't even know if Clay can get back in here to talk. So we just gonna go ahead and end it right here. Thank y'all so much. Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
I was just telling them they got to, just be patient, man, because the storm, things are still being worked on right now because of that hurricane. So yeah, we got a little bit of connection, but it's still spotty as y'all can see. So thank y'all for being patient. By next week, we shouldn't have this problem, but it is what it is. So yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'll end it off on saying I'm going to go for A&M just on the sole fact that the Gators just lost to them, and I want to see them at least kind of put up something in the record column. That's really all I got. Like you said, bear with us. The storm came through, and it did more damage than I think a lot of people were expecting. There's a lot of friends that I have that are in Savannah that are still, battling no power that's been gone since yesterday. So it's a lot of water, a lot of trees down. We're in a heavily wooded area around here, so bear with us. Obviously next week hopefully it will be better, but if you were impacted by the storm, hopefully no injuries, no damages to cars, houses, people, anything like that. So get through it. It's something that happens, and then just keep on pushing down the road.
We won't have this problem next week. Everything should be back to normal by then. But we're still, the fact that we were even able to get this show out tonight is like a blessing in itself. Just because power was out for the majority of the day for me. Like I just got it back a couple hours ago. So everybody still, it is still not even on for everybody. So we're still dealing with it.
Yeah. But thank y'all.
Listen, thank y'all so much for being patient. All right, we appreciate y'all for staying on.
Absolutely.
Like I said, next week, not only will the gang be back, but me and Clay will be back, and we won't have these problems next week. We won't have to deal with this. We'll be fine. All right. With that being said, thank y'all so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of FBS Fridays. Okay, we will catch y'all next week. Well, we gonna have a lot. We gonna have a lot to discuss because a lot's gonna go down this week. All right. So hey, we love y'all. We'll catch y'all again next time, and we out. Peace.
See ya.